how do we start? It's been a rough couple of days. Um, I'll start I'll start with the beginning and I'll tell it the way it was, the way it is. Monday morning, 2 days ago. Oh, well, it's only yesterday. Looks way back. At 9:20, 9:30, I'm on the way to the office and I get phone calls from my wife, from my mother-in-law, and from one of my friends. Are you okay? Are you okay? What's the problem? There was a terror attack. They were shooting next to Ktumim. Now, I live in Sufim. Karnei Shomron is where the office is. Ktumim is just the community nearby. It's really a couple of minutes from Karnei Shomron. And on Monday morning, there was a terror attack there. And I'm going to start before we're going to give updates about everything that happens around us. I want to start with that because this is like a personal story that really resonates with the situation. You know us, we're friends. You've been here, we met you, you hear our stories, and this is I'm sharing with you the notion of what we're going through. 9:20 in the morning, there's shooting on the main road next to our community, next to Kdumim. And immediately at this kind of situation, all the family members are texting one another to see everything is okay. You send in the chat in the group chat, seeing everything is fine. I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay. In my personal family, we have three uncles who live in Kdumim. So in my wife's family, immediately everybody's fine, everybody's okay. A couple of minutes pass and we hear that these people were shot. It's pretty heavy injury. We hear 4 people injured, 5, 6 people, 3 people in very harsh condition. An hour after that or so, we already understand that there were casualties. Very fast after, there's also a video from the scene. And that's what happened. A car with 2 terrorists come to the main road. Now, this road is a very tiny road in between Kdumim and Karnei Shomron. You're driving through a village. If you ever been to this Kdumim area, you've been there. You drive, you can see like the vegetables and the garage station on the side of the road. You're literally driving through it. It's very important to drive there slow because they're jumping to the road. It's their main road, basically. The 2 terrorists come, they stop the road, they stop on the side, they go out with like a gun, not a pistol, and they begin to shoot. They shoot on private cars, they shoot on a bus, and one person is able to shoot a couple of shoots in his pistol at him. Then another person come with his car, an old guy, goes all the way to them, shoots from his car. Now, when I heard in the beginning it was from his car, I imagined, what do you imagine when you hear somebody shot from his car? What do you mean? I thought he would stand and he would shoot from the window. No, he shot from the front window. So there's like a hole in the front window, and he's able to make them like run away. They weren't found. The army immediately went after them and weren't able to find them. And again, as I said, an hour later, we hear that this event, the price was heavy. 2 ladies in their 60s. Actually, one is almost 70s. To be honest, it's more kind of a 70. And a guy who's 35 that was shot to death. Now, after that, we understand that he also gave a couple of shots before he fell down. He did it when his younger son, fourth grader, was sitting in his car with him. the kid saw his father dying in front of his face. And I just want to mention their names. Elad Winkelstein, Rachel Cohen, and Aliza Rice. Aliza and Rachel are from Kedumim, and Elad is actually from the Jordan Valley. He is divorced, and his previous wife, and his son, they live in Karnei Shomron, in our community where the office is. And yeah, so if it's not good enough, if it's not enough to start the Monday with 2 casualties, and a couple of hours later, we hear about 2 more soldiers that die. Eitan Shkenazi, another kid from Eli, married, and Dvir Tzion Revach from Jerusalem. And just a couple of hours ago, somebody that was injured yesterday in the event also was killed, 20 years old, Ido Samiach. 6 people in 20 and something hours. Now, we'll talk about it later and what's the meaning behind it. But there's even a more chilling aspect to the story. Today with us, we have our project manager, Shira. Shira works with us in CFOIC for the last couple of years. And Shira, she lives in Gdumim. She drives to the office every day to Karnei Shomron, back and forth, on the very road we're talking about. And on Monday, she passed that very spot when the attack happened 10 minutes. 10 minutes before the actual incident. So I brought her today to share a bit and to tell us more. Shalom, Shira.
Shalom, Shmuel. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share this. Very intense experience yesterday. When I arrived in the office, that's only then that I heard what was going on, and my phone didn't stop ringing the whole morning too, with friends and family checking on me. And slowly, as the details came out, it dawned on me how, for me, there were a series of small circumstances that slowly moved me past this. And if things had happened the way they normally happen, I would have been smack in the middle of it. So I was very, very shaken. And yesterday I was saying that it felt like a miracle, but a miracle that doesn't feel good. And I had never realized this before, that you can have a miracle, but you still feel terrible, and there's not much to rejoice about. We have a saying that there's 7 degrees of separation. I don't know if you've heard that before, but I always say in Israel, it's 1 degree of separation because everybody is related one way or another. Everybody's been to school with somebody else or is somebody else's cousin, and these people were all in my circles, and it just, those things hit close to home, and you just think you're going to work. Lo and behold, you're a survivor, and you still have to carry on. And yesterday I still had to get on my bus back home, which was really not easy. So I phoned a friend just to have something to keep my mind off the fact that I'm a moving target, driving through that village again. And today I had my own car, and I had to drive, and the whole time I'm driving, I have my gun tucked on my side, ready to draw, and I'm running all these scenarios. Okay, if there's a terrorist right now showing up from there, this is what I need to do. And it's just like on such a high alert. It's surreal, and I wish somebody could make it make sense for me, because I'm just a French city girl. Now here I am driving through these roads with a gun. It makes no sense to me at all.
So Shira, I want to go through a regular morning, but before that, maybe give us a bit of introduction to who you are, where are you from originally, how many years you live in Samaria, just for people to understand.
Yes, so I was born and raised in France, and in Strasbourg, for anybody who's interested, in the northeast, close to Germany. I then studied languages, which brought me to travel and brought me to meet my South African husband. So I also spent quite a few years near Johannesburg in Africa. So I went from French city to Africa, and from there then to Israel, where we came 7 years ago, and we came straight to Samaria. We lived in Karnei Shomron before we came to Dumim. It's always been the place for our heart. The moment we set foot here, we knew this is where we belong. It feels just those like those hills are alive, and we've loved every moment of it.
So how does a normal morning look like, the schedule wise, and what happened yesterday? What was different?
So usually I will drop off my daughter in kindergarten. She's 3. She's in her first year. Around between 8 and 8:30, and then I get the 8:36 bus. Or sometimes I'll drive if I can have the car. And then I come to the office, and everything is pretty straightforward. Now, yesterday she was throwing a bunch of tantrums, so it was really hard to drop her off on time, and I missed the bus. Now in Israel, people hitchhike a lot. It's not in my culture. I have a very, very hard time putting out my finger and dealing with 10 cars passing me without even a glass.
But Shira, let's put it in the context. We're talking about people on the gate of the community, each hiking from the people of the community that lives. It's not random people. It's people from your community that leave to work, and you're catching a ride with them, basically.
Right.
So you didn't, or you did?
So I did, because I knew we had an important meeting in the office, and I didn't want to. I realized if I wait for the bus, it will bring me. I will arrive much later, and I wasn't happy with that. So I thought to myself, okay, Shira, you can do this. It's fine. You've been here long enough. I can do the hitchhiking, and of course a bunch of cars passed me, but then finally somebody took me. And also I have to say, this lady did the traveler's prayer. We have a Jewish prayer that we say when we travel, and it's not common that people will do it on such a short trip. I don't know, but she really prayed that prayer with all her heart, and like she stopped the music and she really like did it, and I just felt, the connection. And we're driving and we're going through our business peacefully, and as we're going through this Jewish village, I'm checking my email so I already can arrive at the office ready to roll. So, and I was sending emails, so I when all this came down, I was able to go back and say, wait a minute. 7 minutes before it happened, I was right there driving through the town, and there's a chance I drove past, our cars just crisscrossed each other, and it's just yeah, I don't know, I just think it's very intense.
So baby's tantrum, bus not in time, 7 minutes difference. I need to ask this. So you work there, I must say, let's be honest. What happened was that we had a new employee coming to the office, and we didn't talk about it. We were busy in like working and meeting one another, and we didn't talk about it so much. And we continued the day, but then I've thought about it, that now you need to go back home. So how, like, what's the feeling? 7 minutes in the morning you passes. Okay, then you need to go back through this village. What's the feeling like? And more so, what are the thoughts at night when you get to your children and you understand and you realize that the next day you're going to have the same ride, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. What anything changes, something changes, a new reflection about the situation, about being a ducks. What's the feeling like?
The feeling getting on the bus was really, really hard. I felt like, why am I jeopardizing myself? You know, why do I choose to do this? What's wrong with me that I will, you know, continue going? Like normal people will move away. And and it's like, but I choose to be here. I choose to go through this with faith and to look. I saw the divine providence, you know, and so I'm like, okay, it'll continue to be this way. Your time, you know, will come when your time will come. So I choose to continue. I choose to carry on. And I came home, and they all, my children and my husband hugged me way tighter. They all told me they're so glad. They're so glad, and I'm so relieved that they don't have to deal with the thought of their mother having been shot at. Like, God forbid, that's just, you know, something we don't want our children to ever be faced with. And I don't remember what where sort of going with this.
You 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 said it in a way that I think that many people in Judea and Samaria, I think that's the way we were trained to think. Because really, and I say it all the time, really, to be honest now, you know, between friends, there's something not normal in deciding to live in a place that you actually have risk to go to work, to live your life, to send your kids to school. It's a situation that nobody should ever face. Nobody faces, let's put it this way. When you are in a situation that you need to ditch a bullet on the way to work, you will take yourself, you will sell your home, and you will move. Therefore, when you hear people like Shira speaking, and generally, you hear the funeral, and in the funeral, those people, those two ladies, their family says about them. These ladies were the people who established Kdumim. They were one of the first pioneers, settlers in Kdumim. They came here with strong belief system, and this is something they educated their kids, and this is something they passed to the next generation. And now you know, you come from another country. I come from Netanya. You move to this area and you need to cope with the situation. And you need to have this support system, belief system that you are here for a reason. You are here for a
Absolutely.
purpose, and it's really God's will for you to be here. Yes, and sometimes God's will is that people will die on the road as well. I don't know how to explain it, but I do understand that us living here is a life mission, and this is something that is a statement to our belief and to our connection to God. And I think you said it in a very simple way that it's 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 clear for me. Any kids asked you, why are we doing here? Like your husband, maybe you sat in the night with a cup of tea, like wondering from their side. You gave your side. Your mother didn't call you. Your mother doesn't live here. Didn't she call you and say to you, "Come on,
No,
what are you doing there?"
no, nobody. No, that's not a thought. And you know, it's a very good point you're making of how it makes sense, because we left South Africa because of security issues there, and it felt senseless to wait for our turn to be shut down at home so that our cell phones could be stolen. But we came to another place where we run the risk of being shut down too. It's just that there's such a higher purpose. And now the real challenge is to make it through this, because even with faith, even being aware of the miracle, I feel like my challenge is to live without PTSD, you know, and so many people have PTSD. It doesn't matter, like it's hard to ignore what happens to you, and this notion of purpose and faith is something to really grab onto to get over it fully.
And I think that what I hear in the last 24 hours, 48 hours almost, is that, no, maybe you heard it as well. Something's changed after the 6th of October, 7th of October, of course. After 7th of October, when something happened, the first call from the people is government, army, wake up. Because we are very tolerant. Living here, we understand this is the way of life, which does not make sense. It doesn't need to be this way. A week ago, I posted on our Telegram account, and I hope all of you are connected to our Telegram. If not, we will send a link now. I shared a couple of images and a video from a bus being stoned just outside of Karnei Shomron. Huge rocks like this. They broke the front glass from the side. It really was stoned heavily. And you know, when a car is being stoned or a bus is being stoned, you know what's the reaction? It's not even on the news. I have special groups on Telegram that gives us news from here, but it's not going to make it to the national news because who cares if a stone broke a glass? And we said, and I wrote it there. You can go to our Telegram and I wrote it there. When they start to stone and they are not afraid, it will go to shooting. And when they shoot in the middle of their village and nothing happened, it will happen again. And they will continue because if it works once, they will try it over and over again. And now there's a very strong calling, there's a very strong desire for the government, for the army to do something. If something like this happened, you cannot continue. We were quiet in Gaza in a very small attacks and until it escalated. And this is something that I think we have no tolerance anymore for none of it. Something like that needs to shake the grounds of this village, Funduk. And the areas around Dumim, where Shira lives, all the villages around it need to understand that we are not playing the same game like we played before. Something needs to change. You get this notion, Shira? Thoughts?
Yes, I witnessed a lot of discussion around this topic yesterday, and you know, it's been a long time that they're talking about doing a bypass road, and it's not happening, and it's absolutely insane that we are so limited with the different access roads that we have. Basically, there's no choice. This is the one road. If you are stuck there, there's no way. Like, there's literally no other option.
So,
So
so just to be clear, when you leave Kdumim and you want to drive to central Israel, Karnei Shomron, inside Samaria, there's one road. That one road, drive through this village. No other options. It's not like you want to skip the lines or go on a shorter route. There's nothing. It's the only road you have.
right, and it's people are fed up. People are very fed up. People were very angry. People are wishing now that this Arab village wasn't there. You know, they're thinking, can we not just like get rid of it already? Why do we all have to die? You know, it's the whole community is affected by this, you know. Imagine losing a handful of neighbors, or childhood friends, and people just don't know where to place this rage and anger and pain. I mean, they're coming together to support each other and support the families who are bereaved. They're protesting. Yesterday, they went to pray. I don't know, Shmuel, maybe you know, if they were allowed to make it all the way to Funduk, but they walked from Kdumim to that Arab village with the intention to pray on the site. Um, it's it's like a lot of energy that now has to go somewhere, and people just want to be done already. You know, we want to build for the future. We want to build for good. We don't want to invest in more security and more fences. Khalas, enough, you know.
It's funny. I totally agree. I think the energy here is energy that is exploding from so many casualties in the war, with soldiers dying, with the fact that something needs to stop. And whenever something like this happen, it's a wake-up call to realize who are we dealing with and what the situation is. And if we're going to continue to be quiet and silent in Judea and Samaria, and we're not going to go to the source of it, their villages, their towns, they have ammunition, they have weapons. We found already weapons from Iran. It was exposed. If you go to the villages, you will see they have so many gear, weapons, guns, ammunition. It is a madhouse, and we need to stop it. Shira, I want to release you to go to sleep. Want anything else to end with?
No, just thank you for letting me share.
Anyone have a question for Sheila or something to say? You can welcome to open your microphone and say something and ask a question if you wish. Okay. It was Paul. Here, we have a volunteer.
Hey, Shira, thank you so much. Uh, I found out where you live and how you travel. My wife and I, and Joyce will remember the name of the employee of CFOIC. I think it was 2016 or 2017. We were going by Azun. Is that how you pronounce it? On 55.
Yeah.
And we were attacked with a large rock that came that far from going through the window and killing the employee from CFOIC that was with us. We were very shaken up. We thought a bomb went off underneath the car. It was such a loud thump. And we went to the police station, of course, and the chief of police put his arm around me and he said, "Now you know how we feel in Karnei every day." And I wrote something. I just looked for it. I wrote something that night, basically saying, "How can you live like this? How can you live like this?" And it's got to end, you know. And for the Jerusalem Post to keep calling Samaria the West Bank is a crime, and every Christian in the world and every Jew in the world should be writing to the Jerusalem Post and saying, "This is not the West Bank. This is our land. God gave us our land." My question is, why isn't there a continual IDF presence at that crossroads?
There is an on and off presence based on tensions and local events, but I don't know if it's a manpower issue. Shmuel, maybe you know something, but there's a checkpoint and it's on and off.
In the end of the day, you cannot be at every point at every time. When there's two terrorists driving with a rifle, if they wouldn't stop in that junction, they would go 20 meters here, 30 yards there. They will find a place to stop. It's the whole road. You know, this is this. I'll tell you a story. On Sunday night, Sunday afternoon, I had somebody from Oxford University that writes a book about Judea and Samaria came and visit the office. We did a long interview about life in Judea and Samaria. And of course, you can imagine he's from the University of Oxford. And he's like, let's put it this way, he's not leaning towards Judea and Samaria, of course. But you know, as I was speaking with him, I heard on his voice with his very British accent that he gets what I'm saying. Like sometimes it makes sense. So he was in Israel. He came to visit Karnei Shomron. He took a bus from Tel Aviv and he arrived and I showed him around. And then I'm taking him to a hilltop above Karnei Shomron, and I'm showing them these are the Arab villages, this is our junction, this is that. And he's like, wow, they're like building everywhere. They're surrounding you, and you have like the very precise, everything is documented, legal, and they're building whatever they want. I said, yes. And then he says to me, and that's what I wanted to say. He says to me, I swear I was shocked. I was driving with them on the main road. The bus I was taking here, I saw Palestinians driving next to me. I said, why were you shocked, my friend? He says, because it wasn't supposed to be an apartheid state. Like, I was sure you're going to drive on different roads. I told him, wait, just a minute. I want to show you something. So I took him out of the community. You know, when you drive to my community in Sufim, you enter the city of Kalkilia. And there's a big sign. If you visit, you remember it. You cannot ignore those signs. It says, it's against the law, and it's a risk to your life to enter this area. It's area A. So I told him, we stopped, we took a photo. I told him, go tell your friends in Oxford, this is what we're dealing with. The next day, 9 o'clock in the morning, it's like 12 hours after he visited me, I received a message from him. And he says, I can't believe I was on the bus, on the road, that this attack happened. I told him if you would cross Karnei Shomron, 5 minutes from there, you would get to the very point. He was shocked. And I think this is something that people don't realize. There's no apartheid. We live on the same road. We drive through them, they drive next to us. And what happened yesterday from the northern part of Samaria, they took their vehicle, they went inside, they put some music, they have their gun ready, they decided to stop in the junction. If there was an army there, they would go and they would shoot in a different spot. We cannot be in every spot. We cannot be in every corner. We need to go and outroot this system. We need to take this ammunition. We need to go into the houses. We need to control the area because this is what we're dealing with. And we understand right now, as I said, we saw it. We saw it with our eyes. It's not legends anymore. It's not being paranoid about the enemy. We saw that what they're capable to do. We saw what they did in the Gaza Strip. We won't allow them to do it here in Judea and Samaria. Shira, thank you so much. If you can stay if you want, I'm going to move to the next topic. But I think in the name of all of us, we want to wish you that you won't experience any events like that, and you will be feeling safe and secured in your homeland, in the roads, and nobody should feel that. Nobody should experience that. Honestly, it's crazy. I hope it was the first and last time.
Amen. Thank you, Shmuel. Thank you so much.
Okay, friends. So thank you, Sheila. And I want to jump to a minor subject, but I think it's very connected to what we were talking about. And so, as you know, what I'm saying now, you can record it. It's being recorded. Let's say it was 2019, and I would share the same story. It would make sense. 2004, it would make sense. Because this notion of shooting and killing and a terror attack and experiences, unfortunately, this is the way we live in Judea and Samaria. It's not something new. It's not something that you're shocked about. All of you, I see your faces. It sounds really bad, but we got used to it. Correct? We know this is the situation in Judea and Samaria. It's a war zone. They're shooting. We ditch the bullets, and that's it. So, of course, everybody has in mind when he hears this kind of stories, like, where are we going to go with that? How will it change? So I want to say that now we're starting 2025, and I have a feeling, and I'm wishing, and I dream, and I hope and I pray that maybe things will change starting a week and a half from now. Of course, I'm going to talk about the inauguration of President Trump. So first of all, I'll say this. The one thing I really hope that do happen is, and it looks like it, you can also almost smell it, that the Hamas will bring back our hostages. They are afraid of what Trump can do. Trump continues to push on it and talk this week about how it's going to be hell. And I really do hope that they will be released, and I hope we will see them very soon. You already probably saw the lists. There are lists with names. I don't know. It's a prayer, it's a wish, it's a dream. We hope to see that. But there's something else we hope to see. And I think it's going to be big news. Of course, I'm talking about what America will do to save or to talk about sovereignty in Judea and Samaria. Two things need to stop. Number one, we need to stop talking and dreaming about a two-state solution. This needs to be off the option board. Two-state solution is not something anybody can dream after everything we saw in the last years. After the Oslo Accords, after the Gush Katif evacuation, after the 7th of October, these were three huge signs that say it's just ain't gonna happen. It cannot happen. And now we're talking about how we can move and shift it into sovereignty. Sovereignty in the land means this is not going to be a debate anymore about occupied territories, about talking about the West Bank. This is full-time Israel. And with that, everything can be different. We can be exposed, we can be out there, and we can really check and make sure that things are going to be more protected and more secure there, because this is an ongoing battle and we have no forces on the ground. They have their own cities, they have their own country, they have their own states, and we need to make a way out of it. Just what can we say? So we're happy to announce, and that's the good news, that next week will be the first time that Judea and Samaria will have an official caucus in the US government, in the parliament, and a Congress lady that's going to open next week a caucus for Judea and Samaria, connected to a lot of the municipal forces here in the area. And I'm happy to say that I was blessed as well to be invited to come and participate in this opening of this new Judea and Samaria caucus for the first time ever. And next week, I'm going to make my way to DC for a couple of days to be part of this historical movement and to have time to connect with Congress people and with people that have influence. And of course, we are here always to come and connect with the people. The congressmen are important to have influence on the government, but we are going to the people. We're going to the pastors, we're going to the churches, we're going to people that want to hear our story. And we were invited to come and share our story. And I hope that I will have the words to express what we feel here and what we're going through. Because Shira is not here. I don't think I think she left, but I can tell you she's not here. So let's put it this way. When something like this happens, the circles, as she said, are everywhere. There's not a single person who's not connected to those two ladies, to this man. Examples. This man had a son with him in the car. The son learns with my son in school. He knows their friends. The two ladies, one of them was the counselor of school of my wife and all her sisters in the school in this area. Everybody knows them personally. And those kind of events, they're traumatizing, they're scary, they're really bad, and something needs to change. And we need to share our story, and we need to continue to do that. And now, with the power of this caucus, we hope we have more available ears to hear what we're going through and what the story is really is in the biblical heart. And I want to stop this conversation. And I want to give a couple of minutes to question by saying this, and it's connected to this week portion. This week portion, which is Parashat Vayechi, actually it's my bar mitzvah portion. I had my bar mitzvah on this week parasha. And there's a very big chunk of the story that talks about Jacob asking his son Joseph to be buried in the land of Israel. He asks him, "You need to swear to me you're going to bury me in Israel. You need to swear to me." He asks him, he asks him, he asks him. And then he gives the blessing to all the brothers. And then he asks again from all the brothers. So I want to tell you that every night before my daughters go to bed, my son is already too old for that. We do other things. I tell them the weekly portion. And I split it into a couple of parts. So yesterday, we've learned about the time when he asked from all the kids. So it was today. Today, we talked about how he asked from all the tribes to go and bury them in Israel. So one of my daughters asked a question. Why is that? That in the beginning, he asked from Joseph, and he pressures him, and he asks him to swear that he is going to bury them in Israel. And then after a while, he goes and he asks from all the brothers and all the tribes. Why did he had to repeat it twice? So she says as follow. Another daughter said, she says, the first thing you do, you're asking from Joseph because he was a king, he was a ruler, he had the power in Egypt. So it makes sense to go to the person who has the power. But then you need to go and tell everybody else, because if something happened to the king, everybody else needs to know. And as she said this simple answer, I thought about exactly what I was talking about now with going to Washington, D.C., counting on Donald Trump. There's two elements. Number one, you make all the pressure and all the work you can do on the people that have the power. This is giving to Joseph. But after that, don't forget, you need to go to the people. You need to go to the people that are there because they know, they will remember, they will educate their kids, and they will build a movement. So you want to go to the top uh, important people, but do not forget about the people that are out there, the grassroots movements, all our friends of CFOIC that are really out there for us, supporting us and blessing us so much. So I want to thank you all together today to joining us, hearing our lives, our stories, and continuing to support us in so many ways. If you have any questions, please, this is the time. Anything, any issue. Yes, Victoria.
Who did you say was the head of this new caucus in the U.S. Government?
Give me a minute. Nave, I'm gonna check my phone. My son has it, of course.
It's exciting.
Yes, it's great. I'll give you the name. Okay. شنو بايمتى نave. So the lady who's taking in charge of it is the Congressman Claudia Tenney. This lady, Claudia Tenney, Congresswoman. And she's opening here. This is the invitation. It's the Friends of Judea and Samaria Caucus Lunch, Congresswoman Claudia Tenney, and Samaria Governor Yossi Dagan, Knesset members affiliated from Judea and Samaria. Is going to be on Wednesday. If somebody is in DC and wants to come, let me know. I'll happy to invite you as well. I was offered to invite as many people that are relevant from our friends. And yes, it's a great thing. It's the first time and it's huge. I really think it's very, very important. You know, I can tell you this. I'll tell you a secret. One of the strongest caucuses, the strongest groups of influence is AIPAC. Of course, you all know them. It's the Jewish group that has a lot of power and influence. Judea and Samaria is not their topic. They're not going to put Judea and Samaria in the center. Why? It's controversial. Not everybody is again is with it. There's question about it. They're questioning it. So now, when it comes from outside, a congresswoman is doing it. It's a great thing. I'm really happy. Any other questions?
Does this have anything to do with the new initiative with the World Jewish Congress? You know, Tuli Weiss is involved? No.
No. The World Jewish Congress is it's an inner circle of Jewish elections for uh, one of our national surrounding fundraising. They have like votes, so they have like one party, a new party. This is something that is based in the U.S., run by the U.S., and it's initiative of this congresswoman and Yossi Dagan, the head of municipal council of Samaria, was doing a great job. He's a good friend. We work together a lot. I think it's an amazing effort he did.
Excellent. Please send, put our email in the chat. We have lots of Bible students in Washington, D.C. So
Okay.
maybe they can come.
Anybody else? Okay. Happy everything was clear and good. So wish me luck next week. I'm gonna freeze. It's gonna be very cold there. We're not built to that. We're Israelis. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be so cold. But we're very happy to do that, and we're very happy to represent our people in Judea and Samaria. And we hope and pray for comfort for the people of Judea and Samaria, and that good things are going to happen. May this year is going to bring us good news. And I hope to see all of you in Israel this year, one way or another. And if not, we'll meet there wherever you are. Thank you, my friends. Have a good night. And we need to say two other things I forgot. Number one, Kim, our beloved Cream Troop, is not here because she doesn't feel well. She's sick. So we want to wish her happy recovery and only good health. And the second thing, I spoke about Israel and I forgot to say, we have a solidarity tour in March here in Israel. CFOIC is running a tour. Many people already signed in. We have a couple of spots left. If it's something that interests you, please email one of our group members in CFOIC. Better to send it to Katie at CFOIC.com. Maybe she can also write her name here in the chat. The tour is happening this March. If you want to come to the heartland of Israel, if you want to come and see the work we're doing here and what we went through in the Gaza Strip, and what happened in the north as well, I assume it's going to be part of it. That's the reality. There's a mistake there, Katie. Okay, I wish you all good night and all the best. Toda. Thank you.